Hello and welcome to Bibliophage, an airwave media podcast. This is the podcast where we devour books one author at a time. I'm Gwenna Lathlen. I'm here with Tori Phantom, and today we have a best-selling author joining us. Today we are welcoming one of the most invigorating authors I have read recently. Seriously, I just read her brand new book, and when I say this woman sunk her claws into me, ripped me into that book, used her fingers to pry my eyelids open and said, "You will read and appreciate all of this." We are welcoming Stacey McEwan. Hi, Stacey. I in no way prepared her for what I was about to say.
And I've just never been more impressed with the way you committed to that bit just now.
No, see, we do have a video element. If you would like to watch what I
Right.
just did, we're on YouTube.
We had to have
Wonderful.
video because we both talk with our hands. So
Everything's huge.
And I've never been more grateful for it, so I can watch that.
Okay, so now this is my secret favorite, like, author torture, because I know full well I've never met a single one of us who likes our bio. We viscerally hate our own bios. So now my favorite thing to do to authors is make them sit there on camera while I read their bio.
Okay, great.
Today, we're devouring books with Stacey McEwan. Stacey is a New York Times and USA Today best-selling author of romantic fantasy. Her high school English teacher once called her writing above year-level standard, and she took that B+ very seriously. Stacey received a bachelor's degree in education in 2012 and worked as a classroom teacher for 11 years. She is a content creator on multiple platforms, including TikTok and Instagram. Stacey was born and raised on the Gold Coast, Australia, and still resides in her hometown with her husband, 2 children, and 1 questionable dog.
That's me. That was
Love that bio.
just as painful as you promised. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
I have questions about the questionable dog.
And you should.
Yeah. What makes the dog questionable?
Well,
Is it
I
a
don't-
criminal?
Have you seen a movie called Mitchell's versus the Machines?
I haven't seen any movie.
The answer is to Tori. Has Tori seen a movie? The answer is like 98% of the time.
Always no.
probably not.
Okay, great. Okay, well, there's a scene. It's very easy to explain. There's a scene where the robots pick up the dog and they're scanning the dog to try and figure out what it is. And they can't decide whether the dog is a dog, a pig, or a loaf of bread. And that pretty much describes our dog. Our dog looks exactly like that dog. And that does not act in any way like a dog either.
I
Like,
never
he
wanted to
killed
watch a movie
He killed a
more.
large lizard today and dragged a lizard inside and presented to me like a cat does.
I
You say I have a cat dog.
Love
I
that.
have a dachshund, and I have
Right.
never seen a dog that acts more like a cat. It wants
Truly.
affection, but only when it decides it wants affection.
Right.
It brings me gifts, whether I wanted them or not.
Right. So
The
this
more
dog needs
disgusting
affection
the
all
gift,
the
the
time.
prouder she is of it.
Yeah. This dog needs affection all the time. Like he's the most codependent sentient thing I've ever met in my life, including me.
I have given birth to creatures that needed me less, you canine.
Correct. Nothing has been more correct. He's sitting behind me right now because he's like, I don't know why we're still awake, but like here we are. So I'm gonna sit behind you, you bitch, until we go to bed. But yeah, so he's a very questionable dog. He doesn't act the way that one should act when one is a canine.
All right, Stacey, Forbidden Alchemy. This is your newest book. I have to admit, this was the first of your works that I read. Your Ledge, Chasm, and Valley have been on my TBR, but I'm a mood reader, so they just sort of get shuffled
I understand.
around. So this one caught me. I actually started reading it before you agreed to come on the podcast.
No,
I have to say, these 2 characters, I spent most of the book wanting to lovingly punch them, grab them by the scruff of their neck, mush their little faces together and go, "You love each other, now kiss."
Same. But in like the author version of that. So just on my keyboard going, just kiss, damn it. And I didn't feel any better writing book 2 either. Just so you know. Just to make
excellent.
just to like set that one up for complete and utter failure. No, it was the first time. I always write characters who are like, yearn, and there's lots of angst, and there's, I like building it up for a payoff, but I'm also completely impatient. So I always say that it's a slow burn when really what I mean is like you're going to have to wait like maybe 2/3 of the book and then there'll be some kind of payoff, right? So I write slow burns constantly, but I'm actually terrible at writing slow burns because I want gratification now.
No, have you read Hannah Nicole Maer's
Yeah.
assistant to the? Okay, so every time someone's like, oh, "I write slow burn," no, you don't.
No, you
Hannah writes slow burn.
That bitch
3
made us make 2
books.
books. 2 books for a kiss, 3 books for an orgasm.
Yeah.
That's a spoiler. Yes, I know. So she's one of my dearest, bestest friends. So I get to actually message her, call her.
I
this to her
adore
face.
that slow burn. Slow burn is one of the ones for me I really like, but then I'm always mad at myself for liking. I like the anticipation, but I'm impatient, so I'm complaining about it the whole time. But if you give it to me too fast, I'm like, no, I didn't want it like that.
I think it's one of those things where when you have that anticipation, when it is that slow burn, you can't put the book down because what if the next page, what if the next chapter is the one where they kiss? What if it could happen in the next, it's not going to, but what if it does?
Right. But like, how frustrating is it when you like just one more chapter? Like we're on the cusp and I can feel it. And then the next interaction they have, there's like an almost, and you
So close.
and you just think, my God, the torture, I cannot. And that's the moment that you want to throw the book. I don't know. I hate that. And I love to hate it, more importantly. And by the way, if I ever say that I love to hate a book or that the book has frustrated me to death, at least it's done that much. That's like the first step in winning me over, because I think the worst thing that I can say about a book is that I'm bored or that I'm, that I'm not vibing it or I'm checking out.
Are you a DNFer? It doesn't sound like you're a staunch completionist. Yeah.
No, I used to be, but then I worked out at life passes you by and you don't get it back. And so now I DNF.
I don't have time to spend reading books that I don't enjoy.
Absolutely not. Yes.
And now I do firmly me not finishing a book is zero commentary on the book itself. It does not necessarily mean it was a bad book. It just means it wasn't for me. And we've said that so many times on this podcast, Stacey. We have drilled it into.
But I feel like it's worth saying over and over, because I think it is so easy to go and be loud about things we dislike, when in reality, the reason we dislike them is just preference and not fault with the format or whatever it is. It doesn't mean it's bad writing. It's just not to our preference.
Half the time when I DF, I couldn't tell you why I DNF'd, other than like I've read 70 pages and I have consumed nothing. Like nothing has stuck. I haven't absorbed anything. I'm just like, brain is checking out. So either I'm just not in the mood for this book right now, it hasn't been the right time for it, or I haven't been in the right headspace for it, and so I need to pick up something different, or the material of it's just not clicking with me, and that book's just not ever going to be right for me, but it's probably going to be right for someone else. So I don't know, this is why I believe as well that like people who DNF books don't if the people who say they DNF a book and so therefore they won't review it, I'm down with that, because I agree. Like, how do you review a book that you didn't finish?
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Now that we've wandered entirely away from Forbidden Alchemy, if you would like to purchase Forbidden Alchemy, which casually dropping here already, a multiple best-selling title. If you would like to purchase that, check it out. Please consider using my link from bookshop.org. It is in the show notes. It is in the show description. Not only does a purchase from bookshop.org support Stacey and her continued efforts to emotionally destroying us, it supports the podcast so we can keep devouring books with authors, and you are supporting an independent bookstore instead of a billionaire with a space penis. We are going to do Books in a Jar with Stacey right after this word from our sponsors. All right, now we get to the fun stuff. This is the books we love. Here's our book jar. The first question is, also, I made them tiny little books now.
Oh my God, they're adorable.
Of course you did.
All right. It was reading arts and crafts time. All right. And ask me what book I was finishing up listening to while I was making these.
What book were you finishing up while making those?
Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwan.
Whoa. How many times did you glue yourself to something?
I don't want to answer that. All right. What is the most relatable book you've ever read?
The most relatable book that I've ever read? Okay, I'm going to struggle to remember the name of it. It's going to come to me as I'm talking about it though. But the reason why it was relatable was because it was about an Australian girl who wanted to be a writer, but she was 16 years old and she was being systematically told by everyone that she wasn't a good writer. And I really thought it was leading to a finish of, but then, she becomes this great writer, and it wasn't. It was her realizing that in fact she can't write very well and that she needs to find the plan B. And this was me like applying for universities to become a teacher instead, going, no, that sounds awfully familiar. Man, what was it called? And I also remember picking up that book from the library thinking that I was picking up a rom-com, and I just felt so betrayed that I'd been perceived.
For me, it was Emily Henry's Book Lovers for almost a very similar reason. The author in that book, the book focuses on the agent, but the author in that book is wildly insecure and needs constant validation. Is this what Amy feels like? Amy is my agent. Is this what she feels like? Just constantly, no, you're doing great, honey. Just keep writing the damn words.
Stop messaging me, please.
All right. Back to the jar. Let's do who is, and it cannot be one that you have created. Who is your favorite fictional female main character?
My favorite, Arya from Game of Thrones, is one of my favorites. She's not the FMC, but she's one of my favorites. And she's also one of the most relatable to me personally.
George R.R. Martin, he's done a fascinating thing by looking at several of the standard plot structures and going, no, who's the main character?
Well, no one can tell. No one knows. Yeah.
No, I do love Arya Stark. I also loved Sansa. Sansa had this quiet sort of reserve strength.
Yes.
That I thought was really fun. Now, I admit
that's our Queen of the North, and I kneel.
Yes, I fully admit I was a show before I was a book, and when I watch the visual media, it always, for me, it makes it more difficult to read the book if I've watched the movie or the show first. Do you find that? Do you prefer to read before watch or watch before read?
I like to read before I watch, but I'm just not that precious about it. I'm a bit like you in that I don't expect it to be exactly the same, but I'd like knowing what the story was in its original form.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
But Game of Thrones is a good one where I watched before I read. And there's been so many like that. I feel like everyone got on The Summer I Turned Pretty, so I'm like, I must watch now because I'm like, if nothing else,
that is one that I knew before, and I have not watched the show yet because I want to read the book too.
I feel like I read that book. I didn't know it was becoming a show.
It did indeed, and it's now blowing up. So I was like, well, I must watch, and so like I'm watching that.
I personally love when I find a book and I'm reading it and I find out that there has been a show or a movie. I'm like, oh, that's what I'm watching next.
Me too.
And if I am watching something and find out, wait, this is based on a book, that will now be my TBR because I want both immediately.
Yes. And I feel like if you read a lot, it gets to the point where you'll go and see a movie and go, this was a book first. I don't know. I haven't read it, haven't seen it, can't tell you what. This was definitely a book first. This is an adaptation. And you're almost always right, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Immediately went, no, a word author because screenwriter and book authors are completely different breeds of creatives. It's like comparing a watercolor painter to an oil painter. Yes, they're both painters, but they do not do things the same way in any way, shape, or form.
And I think you can think about it, too, in the realm of describing how a character feels. A screenwriter is going to be writing about, like, the body language and the way they're reacting to each other, whereas an author is going to be writing that inner monologue and the subtleties in that interaction. Like, they are totally different in just the way they would describe the feeling interaction.
Yeah, I totally agree. The worst one for me was Divergent. I went into the movie theater and I saw Divergent and went, this is a dystopian series. And I was way too late to the game, like way, way too late, and just thought, and I think what it was that I'd had a baby and the baby had like snowed me under. And then I'd emerged, seen the movie and was like, this is a dystopian. And I love dystopian. So I was like, this is a dystopian series, a YA series. And went away and was like, it's 3 books. And so like bought them immediately, devoured them and was like, well, I must know everything about these books. Like got very
that
sad
happened
when
to
I got
me
to the
with
third through it.
That happened to me with Bridgerton. I hadn't read Julia Quinn's books at all, so I saw the Shonda Rhimes treatment first. I watched the first season and I was like, all right, I'm going to consume this. That was another one where two completely different stories were told in the best way possible.
Yeah. What did you think?
But yeah,
as someone who watched the Bridgerton show first and then read a book, what's your reaction? Because this is the more common reaction, I think, is that Bridgerton blew up, right? And they were a favored series in the historical romance realm. But unless you're in the historical romance realm and you read in that frequently, you probably don't know about them, right? So despite their popularity, most people not really knowing what it is, and even avid readers not really knowing what it is, they watch the show, they love it, then they go back and read the book and go, this is completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. I think for me, I went in already having at least a decent understanding of how Shonda Rhimes shapes stories to her specific brand of narrative. It is not that she co-opts them. It's that she is clever in the stories that she's telling you, because she's telling you more than one at the same time. She's really brilliant.
That what she did. I think she was genius. I truly do.
I do too.
Anytime I do too. The purists come, I'm like, listen, I was a Bridgerton purist as well, but I don't care. Let her cook, doing fabulous things.
Yeah.
Let it cook.
It still revolves around falling in love, around existing in this time, around being comfortable with yourself. And so, spoiler, we'll spoiler alert this. How are you feeling about the new iteration? We have the promise of queer storytelling. How are you feeling about that?
I could not give one single fuck about the fact that it's lesbians or that it's bi girls or whatever it turns out. I was screaming from my couch when they brought out that character, because I knew they were about to drop it. I knew it. I knew that in this story, in the Penelope story, this is where we introduce Francesca's, what was going to be future husband, right? So I was there clutching my best friend's hand, where it's got Francesca's gone off and gotten married. We know that doesn't end well. So I just feel like the man's about to pop in. The dude's about to pop in. What's he going to look like? What's he going to be?
And then a beautiful woman
and the
walks
most gorgeous chick walked onto the screen, and we lost our ever-loving shit. I've actually never been happier about that, because Francesca is gay as fuck.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
In the show.
In the books too. Read the books. She's a flaming...
She's a flaming lesbian. I should read Francesca's book again, because you're right, and it has been a while. But we're watching the show she does not give a shit about any of these men. She truly could not care less. She's checking a box.
No, and she really does not care about the cultural norms in the book. She's just, and that's a running theme among the family. They tend to be pressing a little more on what is normal. But then on the other hand, we have a nearly arranged marriage in the first book because of someone's honor, which I'm not teasing that. I love historical fiction. And look, there are two memes, tropes, who hurt you? And my honor will get me every time. Every time.
I'm just a girl. I can't help it. I don't. What do you want from me?
2 beds? Oh no. I'm like, yes. Yep. No, I'm not going to bed anytime soon. We're getting all the way through this 2-bed scene. Let's go.
We're watching this whole fucking thing. Did you read all of the Bridgerton books by any chance, or just to a certain point?
I have not read all of the Bridgerton books. I've gotten through Francesca, and then I had to take a historical fiction pause, especially when you're reading what I call mega series.
Oh, yeah.
Where they go and go and go and go and go. At some point, I need to pause from the characters, go experience some other characters, and I can come back.
Yeah. Also, it's a very oppressive world to live in. Reading historical romance, I find that I can read a couple and then I need a break, because whilst I love all the tropey tropes and the goodness of it and things, at the same time, there's still a lot of obvious oppression on the page, and so sometimes you go, I would like to get out of here for a little bit.
Now I have a question, because you, as a fantastical romance author, you work in both the relationship sphere and the world building sphere. Those are so vital in romantasy, in fantasy romance. You have to develop both of them at the same time. I am also a fantasy romance writer. And I have to say, I personally am overwhelmed and distraught at the commitment that historical romance writers have to, like, my world building and my relationship building pale in comparison to the historical romance writers. Oh my God. Like, I just get to make up rules. Yeah, I have to be consistent with the rules that I made up. Why?
Yeah. My answer to everything. How come they can do that? Magic. How are they going to get out of this? Magic. Probably. Magic. Why do they wear that? Because it's literally a made up fucking world and because I said so. Because I said so.
They're like, wait,
because I said so. It's the best.
They don't have explosive firearms, but they have plumbing. Yeah. And?
What? Next question. I'm good.
No, this is in a time before guns, and they have indoor plumbing. What
are we making our way back?
Exactly what I put down.
Are we going to make our way back to winged people cuddling? Is that where we're headed right now?
Yeah, no, pretty much. I don't understand how winged people cuddle. Like,
we
the biology of it doesn't work
too often.
I understand.
It comes up a lot.
Literally wrote a winged male main character in my first series, but I made his wings.
How's it cuddle, Stacey?
His wings disappear.
Magic. Of course they do. See,
he can like summon his wings and also like vanish them. Because I also didn't get this. I just feel like they're getting away.
No, they would get in the way of everything. Also, shirts seem impossible. Like, I don't care how you described it with a little Velcro. It doesn't work for me. It would just look dumb.
This is one of those
like
things
a little
that
doggy
when
diaper,
people are like,
I swear.
Stacey, how do his clothes work when, he gets his wings? And I'm like, magic.
Magic.
It's magic.
Apparently I'm just going to have to accept. How do they cuddle? Magic. They can just, even if they can't disappear their wings, they can just turn off the nerves. So, like, when she's laying on it, he doesn't feel it, like it's not cramping or anything.
Oh, imagine a wing cramp. We're going to have to start a winged people counter on Bibliophage. This is coming up way too often to not have a counter going.
There are, you know what? These are all valid questions that deserve answers, and it's different per
This is why we have this podcast. All right.
What I love about fantasy romance authors is that not a damn one of us is willing to explain it. We're just like, listen, I have my reasons.
I said
and you're not privy to them.
Because I said so.
Because I said so.
I read someone's author note was like, and I forget who it was. So if this was you, or if you know who this was, drop it in the comments, because I'm not trying to like steal someone else's content. But someone wrote in their author note, if you are a marine biologist, please read this book with caution. Kelp grows where I say it grows.
It's amazing. You know what? It's so true, because I never have to apologize to people for not being historically or like scientifically accurate. I just get to say,
this is how it is. Well, actually, I know. Well, actually, shut up. I didn't say it was it's fiction.
Yeah, I survive. And every now and then a thought enters my brain where I'm like, because there's certain rules that we cannot ignore, like the way the body works. If you've just got a regular human body, right, on the page, there's certain rules that you can ignore. And so every now and then I go, but wait, I'm not a doctor. Is this possible? And my brain does this, where it goes, don't worry about it. Like, at least 98% of the people that are going to read this book are only just as smart as you or dumber. So like and I survive of this reassurance alone, that I'm like, I'm trusting readers to be only as smart as me or not as smart as, like, that's what I'm hoping for.
If you know,
and then when people
are
smarter than me, when people are smarter than me, I'm immediately insulted that you picked up my book to read it.
I had someone, because I wrote a book called The Soul's Guide to the After Death, and I had someone message me.
What a banging title.
Thanks.
God damn.
I had someone message me. She's like, I'm a death doula. I was like, you should in no way read this book. Please put it down. I appreciate your support. I will refund your money immediately. But if you are a death doula, this is a book about one messed up version of an afterlife. Don't read it. Please put it down. Go away. Stop.
Yeah, go in peace.
I feel uncomfortable. This wasn't for you.
You're not safe here. Yeah, I would like to put a disclaimer in front of all of my books saying, if you believe yourself to have a higher IQ than me, don't pick up this book. I'm about to disappoint. That's what I want at the front of
just
all of my books.
Just start putting like a little questionnaire. Like a little questionnaire, and then tally your score at the bottom. And if you score above this, don't read this.
Can you do mental math, like multiplying 2-digit to 2-digit? You can do that all by yourself. My books are not for you. Go read R.F. Kuang. Like, is literature for you, not the bullshit I just wrote out.
Yeah, go find someone smarter. I'm begging you. Because I wrote a whole book about mining, deep mining. I don't know a fucking thing about mining.
Hi, Gwenna from the future here. If you're watching this, it's because you're watching on YouTube, and you may be asking yourself, hey, why did the video just change format? It's because I'm bad at my job. I don't actually know what I'm doing. Why did you say we were going to hear from sponsors earlier and then we didn't hear from sponsors earlier? It's because I'm bad at my job. But here's a word from our sponsors. It's actually not a sponsor. It's just merch. Bibliophage has merch. This is a t-shirt. It says, I'm participating in capitalism to afford books. Where's the lie? So yeah, sorry about the video glitches. I will eventually learn what I'm doing, but that day is not today. Anyway, link in the show notes for the merch. Thanks.
I did surface level research, and no pun intended. I did surface level research.
Appreciated.
Yeah. And I memorized, I had a look at the different tools that should have been used at around this time. And then I went, I think this is enough information to go on. And then I just went about my life. And I worried about it no more.
Whatever I do skip the AI overview because AI is theft and we don't use AI tools like that. But I do skip the AI overview. But like when I Google a question, how does a spring mechanism in a gun work?
Right.
The first, whatever that says, that's how it works in my book now. I'm not double checking veracity of sources. I'm not like cross-referencing. When I Google, what does a mouse eat? The first thing that Google tells me that isn't the hallucinating AI, that's what a mouse eats. Obvi.
I do this with tree species. I don't know how. Do you do this with tree species where you're like, what's a good tree that would grow in like a temperate climate zone on a mountain? And the first tree that pops up, I'm like, spruce it is. There's a lot of surface level research that's happening. And then there's like certain things. I'll pick out usually this thing that I'm like, this is the thing that I want to get right. And then I'll deep dive on that thing. But then I feel like, unfortunately, the bandwidth has been used. And so you're getting spruces for the rest of this book. And I'm not doing any further research.
I fully admit, I've got 2 contemporaries going right now. One is a contemporary romantasy and one is a contemporary romance. And they're in various stages of development. They both take place in and around Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle because I live in Oklahoma and I'm real familiar with the Texas Panhandle. And that means that I understand what the landscape, the brush, the roads, the buildings, like how the people act. I did not choose that because I'm trying to write books about Oklahoma and the Texas fucking Panhandle. I chose it because it's easy. I know it.
I understand. Do you know I have a deep fear of writing something that's like looks and feels like Australia, even if it's not? Like anytime I think about, I'll write a contemporary book and it will be about something that like I know intimately, like the Gold Coast or like wherever I'm from, something that I know. So then when I don't have to worry about that I'm a fraud who's like trying to sound American by saying sidewalk instead of pathway. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm going to fumble and so I just wait. But for some reason my head goes, ew, disgusting. Why would you write a story set in Australia, you freak? Like, why would you do? Like, that's so wrong of me. I know, but something in my brain goes, nope, don't want it. But similarly, I'm terrified that like the alternative is like you said it, in a different country, and I'm equally as terrified of that because I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to cock it up. I'm definitely going to fuck that up for sure. I'm going to get it wrong.
Will say that reading Forbidden Alchemy, for whatever reason, the way you described it, and reading is always subjective. So the way you described it, in my head, it was the Germany, Austria forested area. That's where they were living. That's where the scene was.
I adore that. I love that. Well, that's smart.
That's where I imagined it was just,
wonderful.
Big hills with these valleys carved through. There are spruce.
Were they all spruce? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, a native plant in this fantastical world, actually, in case anyone was wondering. So I don't want to hear any shit about where it's growing or how high it is. I love that. Okay. This is where I become easy as an author because I'm like, did you enjoy that scenery? And if they go, yep, I'm like, then I love that for you. And it doesn't matter what I intended.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so this is a good one. What book or author influenced Forbidden Alchemy?
Interesting. I wouldn't say it's one specific book or an author, but I will say that there's several things that combined. I read a book called All the Light We Cannot See because I love wartime fiction. I read that book and loved it. I also, at the time, And again, I'm like, I love war history in general, and learning about it. And I like history in general too. So I was watching this documentary. Specifically, it was about the Anzac miners in Australia who were conscripted to go overseas and dig miles and miles and miles of tunnel underground because they were coal miners and they were experts. And that there was these networks of tunnels underground into enemy territory on both sides, from the Germans and from the British, that they used to blow each other up and to ferry first aid and more soldiers and food, and artillery. And I just found it incredibly fascinating that there was this sort of underground war being waged that was silent.
Yeah.
Right. And at the same time, there was battlefronts up top.
Yeah.
I thought, what an interesting premise. What an interesting premise for a rebellion that's fought underground, or that is waged underground and kind of in secret. And that's how the rebellion endures. And so that was sort of the cusp of the idea, I suppose.
Here's my favorite part. And what I love about this, the skill that you carry as an author and the influence that you picked up from the information that you consumed, it did not occur to me at all that this had historical rooting, at least.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like a fresh...
Yeah, I actually...
A fresh...
Yeah. I'm the first person to make up this war strategy.
Absolutely. No.
I'm taking credit.
Because magic.
Magic. That's why.
Okay. I think we have time for one more question from the box, and then we will start to wrap this up. What is, and we may have sort of already gotten there, what is your favorite trope?
Forbidden love is my favorite all-time trope, like overarching all-time. Slow burn romance is another big one that's up there, and probably something a little more saucy like forced proximity. I do love a good forced proximity trope. That's really fun. There's so
forced
many.
Proximity will end me every time.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all the way in. There's so many that I love. I'm reticent to say arranged marriage because that looks differently to everyone depending on who you talk to. But I'm a historical romance girly. And so the arranged marriage thing usually looks like, this is convenient for me, it's convenient for you, let's be convenient together. And then later, let's be convenient together with kissing. And I love that. So
marriage of convenience.
Marriage of convenience. Thank you for correcting me. Because yes, it's more marriage of convenience. And I think when you say arranged marriage, people go,
well, an arranged marriage is its own sort of like idea. And there is a trope around that. But marriage of convenience and arranged marriage, sometimes they're the same. Sometimes they're separated.
Not. Yeah. 100%.
All right.
So those are all my faves.
I love forced proximity. Miscommunication is hit or miss. You got to have somebody good at it to get miscommunication to play off without it just being, oh my God, open your mouth and say it. Yes. 7 chapters ago.
Well, I can't stand the, oh my God, he's with a girl. I'm not going to ask him who that girl is. I'm just going to assume that he's cheating on me and I'm going to catch a flight. Never see him again. I can't do that. Get me out.
For me, it's the surprise pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
That one's probably going to pull me out a little bit. Right. Okay. We have one question that we ask every author. What book, not written by you or me, do you think deserves more attention than it had?
There's a book called The Bass Rock by Evie Wilde. And I went to an indie bookstore in Tasmania recently, and it was this cool little kitschy place with a really, really unsafe elevator that I almost died in. And that's how I knew that I was about to find something gold, by the way, was that broken down, dodgy ass elevator. I was like, whatever's on the other side of this, I know it's about to be good.
The more the bookstore looks like it's about to mildew is akin to finding the taco truck that probably has roaches, but the bangingest tacos.
The more hazardous that bookstore is to get through, when you have to go up the rickety little staircase in the back and you're like, is this still part of the store? But there's like a hand-drawn arrow
boxes.
And it's like, you can go up here and you have to like push the door open and you're like, I am going to find a gem in this room up the rickety stairs. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Then I need to be sure that I will definitely die in a fire in this place. You know, like there's no exit. Like the evacuation's out the door. That's how I know.
That is theoretically a window, but there's no possible. I don't even think. Can you calcify glass? I feel like they calcified the glass
Right. Bullets aren't getting through. Like we're all dying. No. For sure.
It's that charm, you know?
Right.
It's magic.
the charm. Anyway, I got off this dodgy ass elevator and walked into this store and was like, oh my God, it smells like mildew. I just know it. I know like whatever's about to happen is about to be brilliant. Anyway, I went looking through the shelves and I just picked up this book and I just cover. It was just gorgeous. And so I took it up and he said, $50, please, which in Australia is a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a book, but I went, I don't care. Take all of my. And I truly hadn't even read what it was about. I loved the cover so much. And I opened up the blurb and I've read the entire thing on the plane home and then in the days afterwards, but it's gorgeous. And it's about 3 women who exist on 3 different timelines, but all live in the same house. So it's a woman who is running away from people who want her to burn her at the stake because she's a witch. And then the second woman is returning home from war where she attended as a nurse. And then the last woman is in present day. And so they're all finding pieces of each other in this house as the book kind of goes on. So it's a horror-ish, but it's not for those who are like horror. It's actually, you'll be fine. Like, buck up and stop being.
It's a spooky season read. Yeah. It's a spooky season read.
Right. And actually it's gorgeous and it is spooky, but it's gorgeous and just so well written. And it's just one of those gems that you're just like, I probably will not find another person who has read this book, but I will make sure that I force this book upon people and try and get them to find it.
Remind us of the title one more time.
It's called The Bass Rock by Evie Wild.
By Evie Wild. All right. If you're watching on video, gorgeous. I should have found a cover, hopefully the beautiful one, and put it up. Speaking of beautiful covers, once again, Stacey McEwan's Forbidden Alchemy is available everywhere you find your favorite books. Please, for the love of God, prioritize independent bookstores and libraries if you can. If not, I understand, because we'd rather you have the book than not. But like, indies and libraries are the way to go if you can get to those first.
Yeah. Make sure that they don't have an evacuation plan either. That's how you know.
Yes. You should be concerned with contracting some sort of mold,
like bookish disease. Yeah.
You should feel
you're in the right place. Yes. It should kind of feel like The Last of Us, you know.
Somewhere in that bookstore where you find Forbidden Alchemy, there is a book being actively eaten by an actual bookworm. Okay? Hopefully not the copy of Forbidden Alchemy. The edition that I picked up has these beautiful sprayed edges with a bottle that's very important to the story, but I spoiled most of it anyway.
Such a beautiful cover. Like I judge books by their covers. I will fully admit to that. If the cover speaks to me, I'm more likely to pick it up and read it. And I love these sprayed edges. Like it's such a nice touch. It's so
like a little luxury. Some books feel luxurious, and that's what I meant by like the last book that I just picked it up and paid and was extorted out of my money, and gladly so, because I was like, it just feels so luxurious.
You survived the elevator, you deserved it.
It was a sign.
All right, Stacey, tell us where we can find more about you on the internet, on social medias. Where would you like us to go check out?
I'm at Stacey McEwan Books on Instagram, on TikTok, Facebook, Threads. I'm also staceymcEwanbooks.com, which is where you can go to find all of my books listed, more information about me, events that are coming up. I think that's it. Otherwise, you can find me at my home and you're not invited. So
fair enough. All right, Stacey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I have been inviting listeners of Bibliophage to send me your author and book recommendations. And boy, have you responded. I fully expected to get like 7 emails. I actually got a notification from Gmail that it was getting full, and I should probably look at deleting some of the old ones because the box is, y'all sent a lot of emails. Please keep doing that.
Yeah, keep doing that. Keep doing that.
We have a podcast dedicated to devouring books, and we do it with a lot of authors, but I want to do it with some listeners too. So this is a brand new segment on Bibliophage. What are our readers reading? If I mention you and your book recommendation, I will send you a Bibliophage sticker and a little thank you for giving us a book recommendation for Bibliophage. So Bonnie C. recommends Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. Emily M. recommends The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I also recommend this one. It could very well be a book featured on Bibliophage. I genuinely adore Midnight Library.
You've told me about this book before.
I have. I've been begging you to read it, Tori.
I'll get to it in a few years.
I know. Mickey V recommends The Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. And Abigail N. recommends The Iron Widow by Shirin J. Zhao. I hope I said that name correctly. I tried real hard to look up the pronunciation. If you have a book to recommend, an author we should talk to, and want a chance to be featured on a future episode of Bibliophage, please email us at bibliophagepodcast@gmail.com. Okay, let's see what's on the menu. Tori, what did you just finish reading?
You're not going to believe this. Samuel Adams.
Oh, Samuel Adams.
Samuel Adams Alive by Ira Stoll, which is the third, maybe fourth Samuel Adams biography I've read.
You lie. I think that we're into the teens easily. Tori, what are you currently reading?
American Rebels, How the Hancock, Adams, and Quincy Families Fanned the Flames of Revolution by Nina Segovich.
Tori, what's up next on your TBR?
The Americanization of Ben Franklin by Gordon S. Wood.
Man, Gordon S. Wood makes another... Yes. All right. I just finished Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwan. I am currently reading, technically, I literally just finished that book. So technically, I'm going to have two nexts because I have not started, but I am going to be going on All Superheroes Need PR by Elizabeth Stevens. And then after that, I'm going for a nonfic of Hey Hun by Emily Lynn Paulson, which is an examination of multi-level marketing pyramid schemes. I'm so excited. As a millennial, I was definitely victimized in both directions.
Yeah.
So
I hope we get an episode of Bibliophage on that one.
I hope so too, honestly. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be reading. If you are curious about any of the books we mentioned on this, again, the book list is down in the show notes, the show description. It's available on mamacusses.com, on gwennalathlin.com, bookshop.org. Just look up Gwenna Lathlin. You look up Gwenna Lathlin on bookshop.org. I'm tricky because normally you can just look up my name and it would come up with my shop, but it might also just come up with my books, which is cool.
You should put your books in your shop.
I should put my books in my shop. Yeah. Actually, I think they are. But go check all the places you find the links. Again, your support not only supports the author, it supports the podcast, and it supports an independent bookstore. This is a win-win-win situation. Thank you for listening to Bibliophage. Please mash all the buttons, do all the things that you're supposed to so this podcast goes further and lots of people hear it. Bibliophage is a part of the Airwave Media Podcast Network. Visit airwavemedia.com to listen and subscribe to their other fine shows like Founded, Childproof. Oh, and also a metric ton of other podcasts that don't feature Tori and I.